As you know, I love sharing the ways that God shows up in my life and shows his presence. Well, a couple of days ago, he showed his presence in a mighty way. And I got to share it with you. I think maybe you'll be as blown away as what I was. You see, I sat down and I wrote out a prayer in my journal. And my prayer was asking for the peace of God to cover the land. Everyone seems to have gone all crazy over the coronavirus. I was just asking for the peace of God. And then I asked that when I would open up the Bible, that he would show me in his word how I could be a person that would share the peace of God with others so that they might be drawn to him. Well, when I opened up my Bible, I was taken to 2 Corinthians chapter 8. And the little header above the scripture where I was going to be reading, it actually was titled, Generosity Encouraged. Now, to give you a little bit of a back note here, for the last couple of months, it seems like all of the devotions, sermons, podcast, everything I have been encountering has had to do with tithing and being a generous giver. It seemed like God was trying to work on me to let me know something. Because quite honestly, I have not always been a generous giver. Even when it comes to the ministry, when God told me to write the book about the Emmanuel quilt, it was an expensive ordeal to make a big hardcover, odd-sized book full of color photos. It was an expensive feat to do that. And thinking that the ministry was supposed to be self-supportive, I figured that eventually, Tom and I would have our personal account paid back to cover the cost of those books. Well, like I said, God has really been working on me and showing me, no, that's not the case. That's not what's going to happen. And so for the first time this year, when we went and had our taxes done, we actually said we're not planning on getting that money back. We're just going to write it off. So here I open up the Bible to a section called the Generosity Encouraged. Chapter 8, verse 7 said, As you excel in everything, in faith, in speech, in knowledge, in complete earnestness, and in your love for us, see that you also excel in this, grace of giving. Now keep in mind, faith, speech, knowledge. When you do the spiritual gifts test, if you've never done one, I suggest you do one. But when I've done one, it's always turned out that my spiritual gift is faith. And then the next thing it says, in speech, I am a storyteller. Speech. In knowledge and complete earnestness. Now, I cannot tell you that I'm knowledgeable on Bible matters. I'm certainly no Bible scholar. But I am knowledgeable in recognizing the voice of God when he speaks. And this time, what he is saying is that I needed to excel in the grace of giving. Then he says in verse 8, I am not commanding you, but I want to test the sincerity of your love. Wow. I'm sure I've read that verse many, many times. But on that particular day, it jumped off the page. The Lord was wanting to test how much I loved him by how much I was willing to give. Verse 10, he says, Here is my advice about what is best for you in this matter. Literally, those were words in the Bible. Here is my advice about what is best for you in this matter. And verse 14 said, At the present time, your plenty will supply what they need. My plenty? What is it I have plenty of? Ah, yeah. Boxes and boxes of books. That's what I have plenty of. God was telling me to give away the books. I don't know what your plenty is. I don't know, maybe you have an extra cash flow coming in, or an extra room, or extra food on your table that you can invite someone that's maybe hungry in. Or maybe you just have a lot of rolls of toilet paper. But God is saying that in your plenty, you will supply what they need. And that it's going to be a test of the sincerity of your love for Jesus. Chapter 9, verse 6 says, remember this, whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously. I want to be one who sows generously. I want to be one who listens and does what it is that God asks me to do. He speaks through his word, and he was most definitely speaking to me, telling me to give the book away. But who am I supposed to give the book to? Well, let me just say, if your church has a mission trip coming up, you could be the one that I'm supposed to be giving the book to your church, to use as a fundraiser. The books would still be sold, but all of the funds that would be raised would go straight to your fundraiser. So if that's you in your church, send me a message and I'll see how to get you some books to help you raise the funds that you need for that trip that eventually, hopefully, you'll be able to take, okay? And in the meantime, open up your word, his word, and see what it is that he may be speaking to you. What's your plenty that you can share with others to share the peace of God? Thanks for listening. Until next time, we'll see you later.